guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
All right. Should we hit the Twin Show intro here? Can we
loaded on this side here on the StreamYard side.
Oh boy.
Okay. I mean, we don't have to like edit this out or anything. I just feel like, feel naked without the Twin Show open, Well, let me see here. Let me just see something.
Play the theme song?
Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yep, ready.
All right, by the way, don't edit this out. Leave this in here, okay?
Yep.
The audience needs to see us with our flaws and all. They can't just see us at our peak perfection, okay? Here we go.
It's the SKOR North Twin Show.
Welcome in to the SKOR North Twin Show here with Mackie, Judd, Declan, where we just want the Minnesota Twins to win a playoff game at some point for the first time in almost 20 years. Judd, are you going to do the whole show with a bat on your shoulder to try and inspire the Twins to...
Exactly right. Because it's okay to get a hit. That's what I want the Twins to know out in Oakland.
It's okay to draw a walk.
To get a hit.
It's okay to get a hit. It's okay to move a runner over to manufacture a run too.
Yep.
It's okay to hit Joey Gallo specifically. It's okay to hit a sacrifice fly. A sacrifice fly is when a runner is on third and you hit a fly ball to the outfield. The ball is caught. You are out, but the runner scores from third base. I think he's only done that 3 times in his career.
That's not a true outcome, Phil. I'm against that. It's not
a strikeout, a walk, or a home run. So, all right, let's get into this here, boys. Jim Souhan kind of on fire this week. So he had the sit down with Joe Pohlad, but then he comes out with maybe even a more interesting column at the Star Tribune, StarTribune.com. By the way, we'll get to some Twins feedback from you guys and also an Immaculate Grid challenge too. But here's what Jim wrote. And Jim is, for the audience that maybe doesn't like, I don't know, we probably have some people that don't read newspaper columnists who consume this show. Jim is super plugged into, he used to cover the Twins. He's a ball guy, super plugged in at Target Field. Target Field was filled with tension last weekend. Twins executive chair Joe Pohlad expressed disappointment in the team's performance and used the word urgency. Private conversations with a number of members of the organization revealed a deep frustration over the direction of this season, given the large cash outlay for stars Carlos Correa, Byron Buxton, and Pablo Lopez, with Correa and Buxton spurring the greatest angst, this is internal angst, because of their poor at-bats and production. The Twins begin the post-All-Star portion of the season on Friday night in Oakland, with every opportunity to win the division. If they don't win the division, it's increasingly difficult to imagine a winter without change in the baseball operation. What are your thoughts?
Well, I find that to be very intriguing because Jim just talked to Joe Pohlad and wrote an interesting column, but it appears he came away with more information off the record that he probably couldn't write on Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're putting the pieces of the puzzle together, I think it's logical to think that, when Joe Pohlad said, "I'm not patient," Jim probably said, "How impatient are you?" And Joe said, "Off the record, this has to improve." A lot of very expensive pieces on the hitting side not performing. Clearly, Falvey and Baldelli don't want to make any changes. So I think at some point in time for Joe Pohlad, he has to say, well, if you're not going to make changes, something's going to have to change. It feels like the fact that they have the easiest schedule left is probably going to buy them time to prove that they can win the division and win a playoff game. But I think patience is wearing thin, and I don't think that Jim Souhan is pulling this column from out of thin air.
Yeah, you can't. With the easiest schedules they have, I ran through some of those teams on our hit with Royce on Friday as well. They play the Tigers a bunch, they play the A's a bunch, they play the Royals still. They have like 7 against the White Sox. With you having the easiest schedule, the path is here. And look, there has been some bad luck. There has been guys in slumps, and they're banking on the fact that they will get out of this. And at the end of the day, yes, players play and coaches coach, managers manage, as Lou Nanne says. But it's hard to imagine a world where if they don't make the playoffs, that they just continue to run this back without some type of significant change in the offseason.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be controversial. It's like, okay, so been trying really hard here the last few years. You see some of the trades that have kind of gone awry as well. Just like 30,000 feet organizationally, would you argue this? I think there's the argument of, should you fire someone? Let's flip it around. Could you really sit here and argue that the front office should not, let's say they don't win the division, they miss the playoffs or something, right? And we can talk about like what the bar should be. Can you really sit there in October and November, if they miss the playoffs for another year in this division, while pumping money into Correa and Buxton and the pitchers and stuff, right? And the trades they've made, and say, yep, let's run it back a fourth year. Let's just everything the same. Baseball operations the same, manager the same, right? Unless you guys want to take that stance, like, I don't know that you can even credibly make that argument. So here's my next question for you guys. What do the Twins need to do here in the next 3 months, the rest of the regular season and or postseason? What do they need to do to keep everyone's job intact from your perspective, right? Like the main top of the baseball operations, Rocco, like what would need to happen for all of those stakeholders and leaders to still be in their positions opening day 2024?
Well, I think for Rocco especially, I need to see them win the division. I need to see them win at least a playoff game, if not a series. This is also going to depend on how this looks as well. So, this is why you have to watch games. Like you can't just go by statistical analysis alone. Because what really surprises me now is I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to say this team right now is in desperate need of some type of move and shakeup, because that's what gets players going. I mean, players are not, they're not just toys in a game. They're human beings. And the way that this team is going offensively, they need a shakeup. Case in point, they met in Atlanta after being swept. They went to Baltimore and scored 8 runs and then went dead ass again immediately. So the fact that they won't shake things up, if I'm a boss, really concerns me. But to answer your question, to keep their jobs, to keep Rocco's job especially, I think you got to make the playoffs. And I think you got to win at least a playoff game, if not a playoff series. Because if this continues to track like this, I feel like Rocco's faults have been very, very exposed. I don't think winning a bad division and then being swept out of the playoffs should guarantee him safety.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's two-pronged, because I see a path where, let's say the Twins do get hot here and, they start to distance themselves in the Central. They clinch it in mid-September. They clinch it pretty early, and things were going really good in the second half of the season. But if you're swept out of the playoffs again, and now there's more damning evidence against Rocco and Falvey and that regime still not being able to win a playoff game, I still think changes happen. Now, I would want changes to happen. The problem is the Twins ownership will look at, but hey, in the second half, we did pull away. Correa started to hit a lot better. Buxton stayed healthy and was hitting bombs, right? Like, they're going to hold on to that. But I truly don't think you can run this back, even with the bad division and your lineup to still win it, unless you at least make some significant noise, which the bar for me is a playoff game, but probably more like making it a 5-game series. And yes, most likely advancing to an ALCS.
Yeah. I mean, it's the most embarrassing streak in team sports in North America. And I know that it doesn't get talked about because it's not the Yankees, it's not a New York team or an LA team or whatever, but every other team in Major League Baseball has won a playoff game in the last 15 years. I think 2009 is maybe the Angels or somebody. You got to go back to 2009. Everybody else, I mean, the Mariners didn't go to the playoffs for 20 years. So that streak is over because they went last year, right? So it's just sitting here. It's embarrassing. 0-8. And I would almost rather have the Mariners no, don't get me wrong. I'd rather the Twins go to the playoffs. But in terms of embarrassment, not going to the playoffs for 20 years is embarrassing. Going 0-18 in your playoff games is impossible. It's just, yes. It's impossible.
Yep.
So it shouldn't be that much to ask if you're Joe Pohlad to go down to Derek Falvey, Thad Levine, Rocco Baldelli, the leaders of this franchise, and say, guys, it's all right there. We've pumped all this money into the team. We've got one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. We're in a garbage division in which there are no teams over 500 right now at the All-Star break.
Yep.
Go win a playoff game. Please end this absurd 0-18 streak. And if not, nothing is safe. It really, like, at this, because the only way, by the way, you can get to a point where you win a playoff game is to win the division, because you really can't be a wild card team with the way that, like, you're several games back of the wild card spot. So you have to. So winning the division is like a prerequisite here. Win the division, and I'm with you guys. Go win 84 games, win a bad division, and then win a playoff game, and then maybe we can talk. I'm not saying it guarantees anything, but maybe we can talk. If you win a bad division with 84 wins and then get swept, what are we doing here? You know, that would be my question.
Yeah, and the thing too here is for Joe Pohlad especially, okay? You went from Jim to Joe. I would assume it was for a reason. And yes, Carl and then especially Jim were hands off as you can possibly get. I mean, your team literally had to go off a cliff for Jim to make a change. But, you know, I would challenge Joe is you got this job for a reason. You are at Target Field every day for a reason. Your family has for a long time gotten a rap as being cheap as can be, which we know is not true. They're spending a ton of money on this team. They're spending, I mean, every improvement to the stadium is theirs, right? Mm-hmm. So I would challenge Joe, take some pride here and don't follow what Jim did. Carve your own path. And so if your patience, because nothing he says is going to mean a thing until it's acted upon. So it is high time for the Pohlads are disinterested in their baseball team, which is how it comes across far more than being cheap. It's high time for that to end. And you've now had, this isn't like one bad year. This is now a run of really bad baseball where there's been no accountability. Your pitching is now good. You can't hit, despite the fact that you are paying a lot to guys that are supposed to hit. So if there's not repercussions for failure, especially in a division that's a complete embarrassment, or if like the Bear, you know, oh, we won the division, got swept again. No, at some point in time, you need to prove that you got this job for the purpose of holding people accountable and making moves like this Twins thing of, well, you know, Terry Ryan has a lifetime contract. And I know that is now a long time ago, but Baldelli and Falvey especially have to be accountable here. And if you don't have what you deem to be success, and I don't mean winning a bad division at 500, I mean real success, then yeah, something has to change before anyone takes you as Joe Pohlad seriously.
Don't you guys also find it interesting here? We're sitting here, we're recording this episode before the 3-game series against Oakland. They got on the plane, they went to Oakland. Yeah, they've sent out like the sort of the pre-series media guide. At this point, there's been no changes to a team that just got rocked in the last 3 games going into the break, right? So the pitching staff, okay, like let's ride it and see what happens. This lineup has now gone down to, I believe in terms of runs per game, it's like the 5th or 6th worst offense in all of baseball. Mm-hmm. 17 hitters with at least 90 plate appearances for this team. Only 6 of the 17 have an OPS above league average. So you're just running out direct on a nightly basis. To not make any change, like no, you've had 4 or 5 days here to kind of gather yourself, right? No trades, no DFAs, no Matt Wallner. Isn't that fascinating? Yes. All right, let's just take a deep breath during the All-Star break. That's pretty bold, right? To do nothing in these 4 days.
If you had told me between the end of that Braves series where the Twins were swept on a Wednesday, Thursday off, Friday in Baltimore, when Baldelli, for him, went ballistic. If you were to tell me, here's the thing, though, they're going to do nothing, I would have been like, really? So actually, this one does not shock me. But yes, I think it's brazen. And look, a really good comparable here, because this franchise has changed their mode of operation a lot in the last 15 years or so, is the Yankees. You know, the Yankees are no longer this impatient, Aaron Boone, we're struggling, you're gone team, right? But even the Yankees, and it's a perfect apples to apples comparison, went from a hitting coach who was a nondescript, no-name guy, and they're having the same problems, and said, you know what? We're going to shake it up and bring in Sean Casey. Not because we're certain it's going to work, but because, and this, Phil, goes back to what you talked about, I think 2 weeks ago now, but because Sean Casey has a resume that people are going to respect, and maybe it will provide a jolt. You know, would admitting that you screwed up on David Popkins really be this, oh my God, they fired Popkins, now they're all gone? You know, Kevin O'Connell got to the end of last year and said, I screwed up my defensive coordinator. I'm just going to make a clean break and change. This pride goeth before the fall crap, I think, is incredibly stupid. And I do think that the Sean Casey move is a perfect parallel to what the Twins could have done, but yet absolutely refused to do.
What other MLB Network analysts can we plug? Can we get Mark DeRosa?
Mark DeRosa might be good.
He actually probably would be good. Wasn't he
the manager
he, like,
of
do some international? Yeah.
In the
the World Baseball Classic.
World Baseball Classic.
That's right.
But, you know, at least that's the type of move that we're talking about, right? It's not like this
Kevin Millar.
shake-up.
How about Kevin Millar?
Kevin Millar. I love it.
Let's make it happen.
Trevor Plouffe.
Oh, dude.
Plouffe
right now,
available.
you said David Popkins or Trevor Plouffe.
Plouffe.
Although, all due respect to Plouffe, if we're trying to get rid of like the low on base, hit a home run a couple times a week type of hitter, that's kind of what he was in his career.
But I think your point is they're doing nothing when something almost strikes you as a must.
Yeah. I would just, if you're a frustrated player in that clubhouse, and there are frustrated players in that clubhouse, wouldn't you be looking around saying, where is we keep using the word accountability, but you can't, here's another way to put it. Why is there such a strong tolerance for poor performance? That would be so disheartening at any organization, right? God, there's this Yahoo over here who just doesn't do anything at work all day, right? But just keeps his job. Actually, let's get into some feedback here because there's a couple parallels here. We'll dive into the comment section here. Feedback tab, SKOR North app, and then the YouTube comment section. And we'll try to mix these in at least once a week, if not more, on the SKOR North Twin Show. So this is from our friend Christoph from Germany, loyal listener here. Christoph from Germany says, as I am from Germany, there is one thing you need to explain to me. Why are you and others constantly dumping on Max Kepler? It is clear he's not living up to his expectations offensively, but who does right now on this team? See, first, let me pause. That's not, people do this like, well, why are you picking on that player? There's all these other players that, well, you got to start somewhere. All right, if 10 cars are speeding or whatever, like, well, why are you picking on that one? I don't know. You're all speeding. You're all
the
underachieving.
fastest.
Yeah. He has the fourth most RBIs, third most home runs on the team. Well, the team is a very low bar. Despite missing some games, I get the criticism, but to me it goes way too far at a point where Judd's calling him unplayable. What is the reason that there's this kind of hate on Max Kepler?
He's been a colossal disappointment. He's had one good year when the ball was juiced in 2019. He was benched sort of platoon for a while, has been talked to twice, now is starting every game. I'm tired of it. I think that he is the exact type of guy. I mean, somehow he actually right now is behind or is ahead of Kirilov in who plays. And I don't understand that at all. And Max Kepler, in my opinion, and from what I hear in the opinion of some who are very important with the Twins, should have been traded in the offseason. I mean, I'm tired of, this whole thing, and it applies in fairness to Gallo too, you guys, but this whole thing of, well, the shift is gone. Just wait. What have I waited for?
Yeah. Well, Max, this is his 8th full season in the major leagues. And some of this is expectations, right? He was one of the top prospects in the organization. I think he was a top 100 Baseball America prospect, super talented young guy. So he came in with a certain level. I don't think it was quite Buxton Sano expectations, but he came in with pretty high expectations.
Yep.
And in those 8 seasons, the only 2 seasons in which he's finished with an above average weighted on base average is 2019 with the juiced ball and 2020, which was a shortened season. And he was just above average. He was not a great hitter in 2020 either. So like this season, dude, he's 30 years old. He's one of the veteran hitters in his prime right now, making quite a bit of money. He's not making, Carlos Correa money, but he's making quite a bit of money. and he's been worth 0.4 wins above replacement, and he has a 279 on base percentage. And Gleeman reported that he refuses to play center field. Not that he'd be like your starting center fielder, but there's some rumblings that people are fed up with him behind the scenes for some productivity reasons and some other reasons. And so instead of being a front-facing team leader here, he's just been a disappointment. Mm-hmm. And yes, there are other players who've been disappointments, but you got to start somewhere when you're going through the list. Martha Reese chimes in, says, the Twins lack heart and it's palpable. Things aren't clicking for the fans or the players. The management traded a likable guy who's become a core player for the Marlins because of the energy he brings and what he does at the plate, hoping Royce Lewis can get and stay healthy as he could become a fan favorite and spark plug for the Twins.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about health for a second? So Derek Falvey obviously went to Joe Pohlad at some point shortly after last season came to an end and said, God, you know what? Our athletic trainer, we've had too many problems. Got to blow him out. So they hire, I think his name is Nick Paparesta. And I'm sure he's good. I'm not questioning him. But I am questioning this. Have the Twins been healthier? Have they avoided problems? And I've seen Paparesta fall on the sword for, I believe, at least two, including, two. Theobar and Polanco being brought back too quickly. So again, when Derek Falvey comes to me and says, I am going to redo our training staff because, damn it, we're going to get this right. And you don't get it right at all. Like, these are the type of things that might strike you as between the margins, but they drive me absolutely crazy.
It's like the third time, by the way, since Target Field opened that they've had this training staff epiphany of we got to get a new training staff.
But doesn't that stuff catch up to you at some point? If you're Derek, shouldn't that catch up to you? You are literally saying, this guy's going to get this right. And he goes and tells, and kudos to Paparesta, but he goes and tells the media that Polanco thing, all on me. I brought him back way too quick.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was ambitious, to use a kind word, to look at last season and say, you know what? We were just unlucky with injuries. That's the only thing. Everything else in this organization is dialed, baby. We've got this thing ready to rock, and we just got off to the wrong start, and it never picked up from a training standpoint. That was the only major change from back-to-back disappointing seasons was, you know what we could use around here? A better trainer.
And it hasn't worked.
Sean K chimes in, says, rant incoming. By the way, I promise I am not cherry picking negative comments here, whether it's YouTube or the feedback emails we get, and we get a ton. Mm-hmm. I don't want you guys to think, the audience out there, that, this is negative Score North Twin show. You guys are just trying to, fuel the flames here. No, Twins fans are fed up right now. Twins fans are pissed.
That's why we're here.
So yeah, we're your Twins therapists here, okay? That's our job. By the way, so the Score North Twin show was dormant for 2 years. I think you and Jake Depew did some episodes in 2021 and Declan.
Yep.
But it's been a dormant podcast feed for 2 years because we don't have a huge staff here, and they're just the demand for Twins content was not. I don't think people were as pissed as they are now. They certainly weren't elated. In the first week relaunching the Score North Twin show, we hit 25th on the Apple National Baseball podcast charts. Thanks to you guys. So
you guys are awesome.
We appreciate you. It was the highest ranking Twins related podcast. So thank you guys. We're gonna keep these therapy sessions going. Sean K says, rant incoming. I do kind of wish we'd stop with this nonsense about trading for Pablo Lopez being a mistake. I think only us Twins fans would complain about not being able to develop homegrown pitching, and at the same time, our team's pitching is among the best in Major League Baseball. The Twins made an equal trade from a position of strength for a position of weakness.
Yep.
And all of those things are true, but the complaint is more about 6 or 7 years of no internal pitching coming through the pipeline, thus forcing you to trade an asset like Luis Ariz. If you had 2 more Bailey Obers that you had developed and now you have a pretty good pitching rotation, guess what? Luis Ariz is in your lineup right now, flirting with 400 and leading the entire league in on-base percentage. Or maybe not, because maybe there's something that the Marlins are doing scouting wise and coaching wise, that's elevating him even more than what he was last year. So
Yes.
like that's like Pablo Lopez is a good pitcher and it's great to have him and he's helping the Twins pitching staff be one of the best in baseball. But like to get him, you had to trade this other asset that was awesome and helping your lineup.
Well, and you also arrived with the headline being you develop pitching.
Right.
You know, it's like unbelievable chef comes to town, and then it's like, here's some bacon and eggs, but unbelievable chef, I wanted more than this.
Here's some oatmeal.
Yeah. Here you go. What about?
Here's some iceberg lettuce. And some cold
That's good.
sliced chicken.
A good iceberg. Oh man,
Is that the preferred lettuce for you? Iceberg.
I do like it. I do.
Really?
Oh god. Oh, it's nice and crunchy.
One time, I'm pretty sure we played a game on our show where we had Judd try to name and match forms of like lettuce. Like, can Judd identify arugula? Can Judd identify romaine?
I think my two biggest disastrous segments like that were that one, which was a complete disaster, and then
name your coworkers.
Hubbard employee or like soccer player or indoor. I don't know.
Is this an employee that Judd has known for at least 5 years, or is it like a contestant on American Idol?
Yeah,
you know?
I completely whiffed.
Bernie Lauer, and Judd's like, oh man, sounds like a singer. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Packer fan.
So, all right, that's enough of the negative comments.
You know what I got?
We are here as your therapists.
I got the idea. It came to me. Twins' new hitting coach. Our guy
Roy
Smalley.
He knows a lot about hitting. He's really good.
Great coach.
He's not doing much work for Bally's. Roy Smalley,
coach.
Playing for the Rangers right there, should be the hitting coach.
I don't know that he would fit with the philosophy of the organization.
He also, I think, makes a lot in doing what he does currently. Probably wouldn't take the job, but yeah, Roy would be good.
Yeah, I think I'd sign up for a little old school kick in the pants for some of these guys. Boys, let's get to the Immaculate Grid here. We try to do this every once in a while here. Maybe I don't know. I think we should do it every time we do a Twin show. Unless we can get sick of it. But
I have some inspired from Jeff Passan on John Boy Media. They've been just like quizzing him on random baseball.
Oh, it's crazy.
Like they quizzed him yesterday. Who are all the multiple Cy Young winners in this millennium?
Yeah.
Got Randy Johnson involved. We got like 9 of the
Dex, by the way, your mic is like fading out or something.
You're cutting out. What's going on?
Oh, now Judd's cutting it out.
Now Judd's cutting out. What if we stop that music? What happens?
That might be it.
Super weird. Hello.
Right. Test
now
one. Test
now
1 2.
Hello,
test
hello,
1 2.
Hello.
Test 1 2. Dex, could you look this up for me? Perhaps Declan could look this up.
Dex, could you just look up a few stats for me here?
What's the batting average for the 1901 Senators, Dex?
Maybe you have that in front of you.
Do you got that?
How many intentional walks did Brad Radke issue in 2006? Do you have that in front of you?
But back to my point of like obscure stats, I think we could even we can do Immaculate Grid every time we do a Twin show, but we could also do like give me all the opening day shortstops for the Twins since 2010. Like we could do fun stuff like that too.
Yes.
That I'll try to come up with.
Yeah, but I do love the grid. I love the feeling of the accomplishment when it gets filled in.
Yes. Hey, the grid real quick is sponsored today by our friends at 3M Open. Okay, super fun event. If you've never been to a PGA Tour event, and there's some top pros here, man. There are some like Hideki Matsuyama just opted in a couple days ago. You might even get a late reg or two sometime in the next couple days.
Exactly. Yeah, Tony Finau is going to come to defend his title here at the Twin Cities at 3M Open. You go to 3mopen.com/tickets to get yours today to watch some of the best golfers in the world. Go to 3mopen.com/tickets to watch some of the best golfers there are. Can you guys see this okay? Can we zoom in at all?
Yeah, it's
So we've got Atlanta, Cincinnati. Is that right?
Yeah.
So for the audio audience, the visual audience, you'll see it here. It's a tic-tac-toe grid. Declan could kind of explain here for the audio audience.
All right, so from left to right for the podcast audience, we need a Brave and a Pirate. We need a Brave and a Blue Jay, and we need a Brave with a 300-plus batting average season.
Okay.
In the middle grid, we need Reds and a Pirate player. We need a Reds and a Blue Jays player, and a Reds player who hit 300. And the bottom grid, this one's a little fun. We need a Hall of Famer that was a Pirate, a Hall of Famer that was a Blue Jay, and a Hall of Famer that batted 300.
We're going to put 5 minutes on the clock here. So we have 5 minutes to fill out these 9. And ideally, if we feel comfortable at some point, going for the lowest rarity score. So they give you like the percentage of how many people are guessing that player. The more obscure players you can nail, the better your rarity score.
Right.
But
so go. Because I would like to start us off with Atlanta.
Okay, hold on. 3, 2, 1, go. Let me start the
go.
clock.
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
I would like to start us off with a Brave and a Pirate, former Gopher Denny Nagel.
Yes.
That should not be. That should be very rare.
2%.
2%. Wow, 2%.
I'm even surprised it's 2. Yeah, that's good.
Pirate and red would be John Smiley would be a choice, right? He pitched for both teams.
Yes. Early 90s Judd right now.
From 86 to 97.
Yep.
Okay. 2%.
2%. Okay, Pirates who are Hall of Famers. Well, Barry Bonds. Oh, not. Barry Bonds is not a Hall of Famer. Is Bill Mazeroski a Hall of Famer?
Bill Mazeroski, Clemente, Willie Stargell.
Let's go. Who's the more rare one there? Stargell or Maz?
Maz.
Okay.
I got to think it's Maz.
Mazeroski. Is it M-A-S or M-A-Z?
Z.
M-A-Z.
Bill Mazeroski.
Bill Mazeroski.
Yep.
56.
He's a Hall of
72.
Famer, right?
Yes. For
56,
defense.
72. All
Yep.
right,
yes, he's a definite Hall of Famer.
6%. That's pretty good with the big old
6%.
dip in the back, or sunflower seeds there in the bottom left. Of his
Didn't he
photo.
once have a game-winning hit against the Yankees in a World Series, like a World Series winning?
Are you serious or are you kidding me?
Right, it was the hit, right?
Game 7 at Forbes Field against the Yankees.
I was right.
No, I thought you were joking because it's a famous
Are you
thing.
kidding me?
I know it's a famous thing,
And
but
you're
I was
really
just
good at baseball trivia and stuff. So
All
yes.
right.
Yes, he
So
did hit the home
Blue
run.
Jay Hall of Famer, I've like Joe Carter, Paul Molitor.
Is Joe Carter a Hall of Famer?
He's got to be a Hall of Famer.
Paul Molitor is.
Molitor is.
I mean that's a sure one.
I'm trying to think of other ones.
I mean, I'd be shocked.
I mean,
if Joe
Jack
Carter's a
Morris.
Hall of Famer.
Jack Morris?
Jack Morris. Yep. I think Joe Carter is, but I don't feel completely safe because I know that the 2 Phil has thrown out so far. I know for sure are.
Okay, let's do the Jack Morris is probably
Jack
the rare
Morris.
one here, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Jack Morris.
We're doing well here. We got over 3 minutes
3%.
left. Oh, this is
Nice.
a great
Good
rarity
job,
score.
Phil.
Good here.
Okay, let's. Should we clear out the 300 seasons here, just to be done with
Yeah,
this?
and let's do the Hall of Fame one. Is simple.
Who's the most obscure Well, let's just throw a Hall of Famer with a 300 batting average season. There's so many we could.
I feel like obscure might be tempting fate,
How about Kirby?
Okay.
just in case.
Great one.
How about Kirby?
Kirby Puckett?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's do
Nice
it.
job.
Nice.
That'll be rare. That'll be under 10%.
0.6.
Oh, let's go.
0.6.
Jax.
Let's go.
Jax.
Hell yeah. All right.
Okay, for a red, I mean Pete Rose is the
Rose.
obvious one.
Yeah.
What other? Did Barry Larkin ever hit 300?
Oh,
He's a 300 hitter, wasn't he?
Hal Morris.
great pull.
Hal Morris.
Barry Larkin, I think did. I'm sure he did.
Maybe we should just be safe.
Pete Rose is safe.
Should we go safe and just
Probably.
plus we have 2 minutes left, so we should probably let's just do it.
No, let's get going.
36%. So that's high.
And then a brave. I mean Raphael Furcal.
Andrew
You guys want to go
Jones.
obscure? Raphael. I don't think Andrew Jones. Andrew Jones was not a big batting average guy. He may
Chipper
have.
will,
Dale
Chipper will
Murphy?
probably be the most.
Chipper,
known one.
Dale Murphy.
If you guys
Furcal,
want rarity
I have no
score,
idea.
I feel pretty good about Furcal, but you know
Oh,
how
boy.
I gave
Freddie-
you Bob Feller one time. It's up to you
Furcal.
guys.
Freeman did it.
Free-
For call. Or do you want me to go?
I'm. He might be right, but I'm nervous, dude.
Okay. So
Like,
I'd
let's
say
get this right.
Freddie or Chipper Jones.
Chipper Jones.
That's fine.
Chipper Jones.
Chipper
Jones.
I'm gonna look up
43%.
Furcal after.
All right.
I mean, I'm
so
sure you're probably right.
a blue and reds to me, Scott Rowland.
Yep.
Wow, that's
he
right.
finished
Yeah.
his career with Cincinnati.
Yep. Good pull. Good pull.
That's a good one.
That's perfect. Scotty Rowland.
That'd be pretty rare, won't it?
16. That's a little high.
16. That's pretty
Ooh,
rare.
that's higher than I thought.
All right. So we need
Okay,
a
we
Brave
have
and a
a
Blue Jay.
minute 15 for a brave who is a Blue Jay.
So obvious one for me, Josh Donaldson.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, we can brainstorm maybe a little bit here though if we want. We have Donaldson in our
Fred
back
McGriff.
pocket.
Fred
Fred
McGriff.
McGriff.
The crime dog.
He was a Blue Jay early, right?
Who else?
Yes.
Is there any pitchers?
Let's do it, man. Let's do Fred.
Now-
McGriff.
Now is McGriff like we have time here to
Yeah.
try and go lower.
I'll bet
if you
he's
guys
under
want.
10. I'll bet he's under 10.
Crime dog? You think so?
I doubt it, man. I think he's probably over 10.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Pitchers.
40 seconds.
Oh. Tim Hudson, Braves pitchers.
I'm trying to think of that because that Brave staff in the 90s.
John
was
Steve Avery?
Schmaltz. Did Schmaltz play for the Blue Jays?
I don't remember
No, he
that.
did not pitch for the.
He played for the Red Sox at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
All right.
So
Just get it right.
Fred McGriff,
Freddie McGriff.
Prime Dog.
20 seconds left on the clock here.
Yeah, you're right.
124.
Immaculate, dude. That's a great score.
124. That's
if we
pretty
get
solid.
under
Good
100
work, guys.
at some point.
Good work,
nice
guys.
work, dudes.
Way to go.
Done. Immaculate.
I think that's our best one yet.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
What's okay, who
Most popular answers
so
here.
Donaldson.
Very happy.
Let's look up Raphael for call real quick here. Just kind of curious.
Donaldson was 20. Oh wow.
Dave Parker was
yeah,
the
he's
most
both.
common red
Yeah.
and pirate.
Yep, that's not surprising. Clemente for Hall of
God,
Fame.
I would have screwed us again. Don't listen to me ever on this game.
No, because you're coming up with for Call's name, dude, and I'm like, we don't need to be doing that.
He batted
Get the car back
300
on the road.
He batted 300 multiple times with the Dodgers, but in his 6 years with the Braves, he peaked at 295. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Looks
Come
like the
on.
toughest answers were Pirates and Reds and Blue Jays and Reds. 51% of people.
I thought you were shook after the Feller miscue.
I was
but
saying
now you come back.
other people sent me emails and tweets saying that they are also shook by the
I
Feller
was
thing.
too. I was
that
surprised.
somehow
too. I thought
Feller
you were right.
did not strike out 300.
Good
But I
Kirby
mean, I
pull,
learned
though.
my lesson.
0.6 on Kirby.
That's great, man.
No love
No,
for
dude,
Kirby.
I am shocked. It's that low. That's awesome. Good job.
Hey, thank you guys for helping us reignite the SKOR North Twin Show here. We'll see if the Twins can make a run for this putrid division. Maybe they can score a couple runs against Oakland this weekend, and we'll hit you with our State of the Twins episode on Monday.